Hey, how's everyone doing today? Boilon here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the new Doom campaign that's going to be coming to the game. Now, this was mentioned in Friday's blog post specifically, and a little bit before this, but now we have details on who exactly will be used in each segment of the chapter, so we can prepare a bit ahead of time on what characters might be the best to use, and what you guys can work on to bring up if you haven't already. And just to make everyone aware that you do need to finish the latest Nexus Chapter 8-9 mission in order to get this unlocked, which will be the continuation of that in the Strike story. But without further ado, let's get into it. So for missions 1 to 3, we do have the choices of Mutant Hero and Inhuman. So we're gonna go take a look on who that exactly is here. So we'll start off by scrolling through the hero button and filtering by mutant here. So we do have a list of the characters here. So there's about 12 characters here. A surprisingly wide amount of choices anyways from the Mutant Hero section. However, ones that stand out to me are Colossus, Wolverine, Psylocke, maybe Cable, and now of course the obvious standouts are Phoenix. But given how she works, you'd have to use Beast in this duo to make it work because of Beast's passive. Now, we're going to take a quick look at that. Saying that if you are going to do this, then you need to actually have at least Beast and 3 other X-Men allies. So this is at the bottom of his passive here. If this character has 3 or more X-Men allies at the start of a battle, the first ally death does not count towards the loss of a medal in campaigns and challenges. So if you are going to go this route, then you kind of just need to go entirely X-Men if you so choose, because at least 4 out of the 5 total characters, including Beast, need to be X-Men. Now, we don't know what the power levels are going to be yet, but since it's supposed to be the hardest campaign, then with Orange Gear in it, I would assume the enemies are going to be at least 40 to 50k. That being said, you might also just be able to get through the levels using Phoenix, as she's pretty strong enough anyways, she might not actually die. My kind of concern is that my Beast isn't really that high powered, as you can see here, and I'm not sure I really want to bring him up just for 3 levels. If you decide not to use Beast, then Colossus is still a good shout out for a tank anyways, and mixed in with some of the other characters available. Now, you also do get Inhumans as well, so we can jump over there and take a look at them. And scroll down here to the Inhumans filter, and we can see who's available. So, of course, this includes the legendary Black Bolt. If you have him, then he most likely should be on your team somewhere. And in that same sentence, really, you should be using Yo-Yo alongside with him. Keep note that if you are mixing Inhumans and Mutants together, then you can't mix Yo-Yo and Colossus because of the way that her passive works. So, just in case people are unaware, I'm just going to show this really quick here on Swift Protector. On enemy turn, if this character has no other Protector allies, apply offense down to that enemy. This cannot be dodged. So this part, you cannot have anyone listed as a Protector on the same team as Yo-Yo for that to go off. So I wouldn't recommend mixing. I think Colossus is the only tank there, so don't mix them together. But I would typically consider Yo-Yo, if you have her unlocked, as that offense down will likely be way more useful long term. And alongside those characters, Quake or Crystal are also good choices, since Quake can give 2 turns slow on her basic, and Crystal can also passively heal other Inhumans if they get low HP. I'm not sure if I would necessarily bother with Karnak or Miss Marvel, though, unless you really want to run full Inhumans, or you have them at a high level for whatever reason, and you don't have any other decent mutants to add in there. But really, you could probably just throw in Phoenix with the 4 Inhumans that I said, so Black Bolt, Quake, Crystal, and Yo-Yo, and throw in Phoenix, and that would probably work. Since there's no actual Protector on the team, then there's nobody to give taunt to Phoenix, so that could actually make it work. Alternatively, like I said, if you don't have Yo-Yo, you could use Phoenix and Colossus and these 3. If you don't have Black Bolt, you can still use these other Inhumans, and maybe you could add Miss Marvel as a sort of side tank, because she sort of tanks even though she's not actually classed as a Protector. So you could do that if you need to. But these are the characters so far that are available for these 3 nodes. And really, I would recommend Black Bolt and his entourage with maybe 1 or 2 good mutants, or just go Phoenix and Colossus together with maybe Beast if you have them, and whatever your highest X-Men are at that point. You could use X-Force, I suppose, if they are quite high, but they don't really have much sustain, and given that they're not farmable, I don't see people having them too high. You could use Deadpool, though, as a fill-in, Deadpool or Cable, if you do happen to have them really high, alongside your other mutant characters as well. And now here we are, starting off at Hero Mystic. Now, this is going to be for missions 4 to 6. This includes Mystic Heroes and Guardians, so I actually couldn't think of all of them off the top of my head without filtering it. But it looks like what really stands out here are the supernatural characters. Aside from Mordo, all 4 of them are here: Ghost Rider, Elsa, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch. So in particularly, these 2, Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, provide some pretty good support and control debuffs, which could be quite useful for this section or this segment of the chapter. But if you are going that far and using those 2, you might just want to consider using Ghost Rider and Elsa as well, because it's pretty much the full team. Alternatively, Thor is available here from the Asgardians, but honestly, I don't really think that Heimdall is really that great. And the others to choose from really won't benefit you too much here either. You have Iron Fist, M'Baku, America Chavez, and Black Panther. Black Panther, maybe, you know, because the way that if there's a lot of minions or a lot of enemies in general, that Black Panther can get a lot of turn bar if you do have a high Black Panther. But aside from that, I don't really see a lot of benefit from any of the others at this time. So I would personally, if I had to choose, I would probably go with the supernatural characters, as they have a little bit of sustain through Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch's redistribution of health. And in general, they're pretty good characters, and Ghost Rider is a great standalone character as well. And so I don't see yourself going wrong with that. Now, on top of these characters, though, you do have the Guardians, which is a fairly decent pool to choose from as well. So if we go back and filter through to them, and go down to Guardians, of course you have, this is probably the trio that you're most likely going to use, and that's Rocket, Groot, and Star-Lord. Now, assuming you have these characters, if not, Drax can also be a good filler tank, because I don't think any of the others I mentioned were tanks, so Drax could function decently there. Unfortunately, there is no real healer. You may or may not even need a healer, depending on how easy or hard the node is. Honestly, I would probably go with Rocket, Groot, and Star-Lord alternatively. I think, because they're actually my strongest characters, so even though I just said just a second ago about Supernatural, I think actually I'd probably opt to do these 3 plus 2 others. So I don't know if I would actually include, if I need to include Drax for the tank. If I do, I would put him in. Otherwise, I could see myself using Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, or even Ghost Rider as well. Those are all great characters, and I don't see it being too hard. Rocket and Groot together have really awesome damage, and Star-Lord just helps with the control and the ability energy and all that stuff for the Guardians. So I don't think this will be a very challenging section here. It just depends on what characters, obviously, that you guys have leveled up. And if you do have the Guardians leveled up already, then that's great. Then you can use them and maybe just fill in a couple of the other Mystics in 1 or 2 or whatever you need to do to get them going through that. So I don't see this section being all that difficult. I do think that the next section, which we'll touch on, I think will be a little bit more challenging, probably. And so we had to go back to the main roster for this one. So for missions 7 to 9, and this is so that you can unlock Negasonic Teenage Warhead, because she's going to be the shard drop for Doom Chapter 1 Mission 9 at the end of end of the Chapter 1. That's where you're going to want to farm her. You do have the option of using S.H.I.E.L.D., Wave 1 Avengers, and the Fantastic Four. So we're going to start this off by going through S.H.I.E.L.D. There are a handful of characters there that also qualify as S.H.I.E.L.D. that you wouldn't typically think of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, the first standout to me is actually Yo-Yo. So she is a S.H.I.E.L.D. character. If you guys have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's where she's from. And the only problem with using Yo-Yo, like I said in the previous section when we were talking about Inhumans, is that you can't use any other protectors with her. So other characters that you could consider using with her, don't use Cap because he's a protector, and don't use S.H.I.E.L.D. Security because he's a protector. You could use Nick Fury. Now the problem with Nick Fury is that when he summons, he has a chance of summoning S.H.I.E.L.D. Security. And if he does that, then that deactivates Yo-Yo's passive. So what you could do, you could use Nick Fury and hope, maybe avoid using the summon, or hope that you don't need to do that. Alternatively, Coulson and Quake are also good S.H.I.E.L.D. characters which you can add in there. I don't know if I would really use too many other shields, though. I said shields, plural, but I think you guys get it. Anyway, so we can go over on to Wave 1 Avenger, and that's another weird tag as well here, so I'm honestly shocked that this is even included. So we do have Thor, Black Widow, Iron Man, Cap again, Hawkeye again, and Hulk. Now, honestly, I don't know if I would even use any of them off this list. Maybe Thor. Thor's probably, maybe Black Widow as well, because although she doubles as shield as well, so if you are going to use any of them, it would probably be Thor or Black Widow. I don't see any of these other characters being used because they're frankly pretty trashy. That's all I can really say about Wave 1 Avengers. If you have Thor leveled up quite a bit because of Asgardians, consider using him. Black Widow only because if you have a lot of shield characters that she does with her camouflage tech, You know, she does apply speed up and all that to all shield and Avenger allies and such. And so a lot of people don't have her up. If you're a newer player, you probably don't have her up that as high as I do. The reason why is because if you're a veteran player, you most likely have her to at least a 40k or higher, because she was a very strong meta character at the time. Otherwise, we do have the Fantastic Four available now. Of that, though, of course, there's only 4 of them. My main pick would be Invisible Woman, because she is the legendary. Now, if you don't have her, I'm not too sure if I would use the others necessarily. You could just use the 4 of them together, because I think that with a lot of the support coming from Invisible Woman, that could be enough. You could use the 4 of them with maybe... I was going to say Yo-Yo, but Yo-Yo does not work with Invisible Woman. You could just use like some random character. You could use Nick Fury, you know, for example, with the 4 of them. If you do have them leveled up, then that could be an option for you as well. I don't know how hard this is going to be power level wise, but since it is the end of the campaign, I'm assuming the power levels could be a little bit higher than we think it might be, but it'll depend. So definitely Invisible Woman if you don't have the rest of them, or if you don't want to use the rest of them, then I would definitely consider using her at the very least. It's possible that using the 4 of them together could actually have some positive benefits if they're not too difficult of a node. But yeah, so that's all for those characters there. Again, super strange that they included Wave 1 Avengers. I don't... Given that half of them are already S.H.I.E.L.D. anyways, I'm not exactly sure what they're thinking. When they're probably like going down the list and like, who haven't we used before? And, you know, let's throw in Wave 1 Avengers. It's just weird because it overlaps. But anyways, that's just a bit of a rant. And that's all of the missions and characters showcased who are usable for this new campaign. I think how hard it will be will probably depend on the power level of the enemies, and if there's anything particular that stands out in the levels that make it difficult. There is a decent range of characters to choose from though, and I think quite a few of them that most will probably have at one point or another. Keep in mind that this is considered to be an endgame campaign, so I would hope that most players who are at this point and have this unlocked or will have it unlocked do have at least 5 usable characters from the list on each segment. I hope that this campaign gets released at the latest, probably by the beginning of September, since it does contain Negasonic, and we do need to get farming her if we want a chance at getting Doc Ock. Now, unless they plan on releasing this after his event, in which case it'd be a total kick in the balls. I hope some of this helped, though, and highlighting some of the good usable characters for this, and if I missed anything in particular, feel free to leave a comment down below, or just any feedback on my choices. But that's all from me for today, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and of course, until next time, stay safe. Boilon signing out.